So I'm not usually one for mobile games, but I decided to download Cross Duels a few days ago for a very particular reason that I'll reveal later on in this video. If you've been following Konami's Yu-Gi-Oh! Social medias, then you might already know why that reason is. Anyway, the game starts out by asking me what my Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience is. I am always a duelist, baby. After that, we get to a cutscene where Kaiba announces a new style of dueling. Cross Duels!
Kaiba Corp has created a new way to duel. Get ready to cross duel! Prepare to fight using rules you've never played by before!
And then he announces a new Battle City tournament, a virtual Battle City tournament. And we face Yugi as our first opponent.
Show me what you can do against Yugi.
And I accept. It's time to duel.
At this point, we're jumping right into the tutorial, and this isn't a normal 4-way duel. You'd be forgiven if you just thought this was a 4-way speed duel game. That's probably what the majority thought. While that's not entirely wrong, there are some key differences between the two games. For starters, there's only 2 phases, the main and the battle phase. Secondly, the win condition is different from normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Even by speed duel standards. Basically, the player with the highest life points at the end of 8 rounds wins. And you gain life points by attacking your opponents directly and decreasing theirs. And if someone's life points reaches 0 before the end of 8 rounds, the match ends immediately. The current battle phase will finish, but the match is over as soon as that resolves, and there's no battling after that for first, second, and third. It's just standings after that point. Each deck is composed of 20 cards exactly. No more, no less. Makes me think of Digimon, but with 30 less cards. And you can't have duplicate cards. If you pull duplicate cards from like the shop, I think you can convert those into medals or something. Now, if you played Rush Duels for like the Switch or something, this game basically operates on that kind of mechanic for summoning monsters. You can normal summon as many monsters as you want in the same turn. But who you can attack depends on which zone you place it in. Center will go straight forward to the opponent ahead of you, the right will go to the right, and left will go to the left. Pretty straightforward. Both you and your opponents share lanes. So, your monsters will intersect, and when they do, that's when they battle. And when your monster wins the battle, its attack gets decreased by whatever it destroyed. So, let's say your monster had 1600 attack, and your opponent's monster had 1500 attack. Your monster now loses 1500 attack, leaving you with 100 attack points left. And it's the same thing with defense. If a monster's value reaches 0, it's destroyed. Kind of reminds me of that time when I played Magic Duels, when that was still around. Anyways, you also have an ace monster that you always have in your opening hand. I chose the Blue Eyes White Dragon because it's my favorite card. And by the way, you can also have a dueling partner. Pretty much the one that you start out with is Seto Kaiba, which I'm a big fan of. As one of my friends got this for me. That's where it lives. Spells also work differently. Basically, the only time you can activate a spell is during the battle phase. So they kind of work like battle phase hand traps. Other than that, they work like normal spell cards. You can activate as many as you want during the turn to either boost your monster's attack points or decrease your opponent's attack points, disrupt your opponent, destroy their card. The only thing that you cannot do is set them. In this game, traps are the only cards you can set. Speaking of traps, those will automatically activate as soon as the conditions are met. So you don't have to sit on them for a turn, but you can't just activate them by yourself. You have to meet a condition. And for the most part, they're more powerful than spells, and I think a lot of them are more designed for defensive plays, but they can be used offensively, like reinforcement. And something important to point out about how this game works is that there's not really turns where it's your turn and then it's your opponent's turn. everything just kind of happens at the same time. So you summon a monster, once everyone is ready with their monsters, you just go. And I think one of the more interesting concepts of this game is that monsters can have skills that can be equipped to them. The one the game starts you off with is the Celtic Guardian, and giving it the effect to gain 200 attack on summon. I think this is a fun concept for a Yu-Gi-Oh game, and I would love to see more of it in future games. And cards that would be normally an effect or extra deck monster are normal monsters until you give it an effect. I find it quite jarring to see Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon as a normal monster outside of the Arc V anime. Granted, the one that was featured in that was Supreme King Dragon Odd Eyes, but my point still stands. Honestly, this game kinda gives me Duelist of the Roses vibes. From the way monsters move and how they battle and how traps activate, seems very much like Duelist of the Roses to me. The fact that all monsters have in-game models and not just represented by a card reinforces that a little bit for me, which I appreciate. Honestly, this very easily could have been a sequel to that game. And like I said earlier, I don't normally play mobile games. I generally prefer the bigger screen of either my PC or console games. Even my Switch has a much bigger screen than the phone. But this game is fun. It's quirky. It's different from normal Yu-Gi-Oh! And puts a twist on both Rush Duel and Speed Duels. And I didn't think I would enjoy it, but I did. It was fun. I liked it. If you haven't already, give this game a try. If you have, tell me what you think down below in the comments. My name is Vincent, and oh, wait, I forgot the entire reason why I'm making this video. This game is dying. Konami announced on their social media that they're pulling the plug on Cross Duels on September 4th, just shy of a year after its release. I think there were several things working against Cross Duels, but I'll get into that later. Personally, I hate when any game is killed. That's when companies pull the plug on games with no plans for when it goes down. I am firmly in the line of thinking that there is no excuse to kill any game. And if you don't know already, Konami has another Yu-Gi-Oh! App called Duel Generation. That one also went down a while back, but that one at least has a solo mode. They gave the people an offline mode so that they can continue playing the game. And remember when I was talking about Magic Duels a little bit ago? Hasbro also gave that game a solo mode when they took the servers down on that. Here's this difference with Cross Duels though. There is no offline or solo mode, at least none that I can find at the making of this video. So literally, I just got this video exported out of Premiere. I was about to go find photos or images for a thumbnail. It's about 12 o'clock in the morning. I have work in the morning, but I found the solo mode. It does, in fact, have a solo mode. It just took me a while to find it. But the question is if it will still be available once the game goes down, or if it relies on the servers a little too much. What I would like to see happen is Konami either release a patch for the game so that people can keep playing on private servers, or they release the source code for non-commercial use. Anything that's not just straight up killing the game. And killing games is entirely preventable. They can plan for when it goes down. But they just choose not to. And if Konami kills the game without giving it an offline or solo mode, I think everyone who supported the game by buying in-game currency should be given a refund. But I know that's not going to happen. And this is one of the reasons why I'm a free player in Master Duel. If Konami decides to kill Master Duel with no offline mode, and they don't give people a refund, then I don't have a product anymore. Now, I expect Master Duel to far outlive Cross Duel. But when that time does come, that Konami eventually kills Master Duel, will Konami give people a refund? Or make it offline? And I will say there is a solo mode already in Master Duel, but from what I understand how Master Duel works is it communicates with servers still, so... And really the solo mode isn't much to write home about. The meat of the game is really in the multiplayer aspect. Anyways, Konami has already determined that Cross Duels is not profitable since they're shutting it down just shy of a year. I don't think it's unreasonable to give the people that supported the game financially over the year a refund. Whenever I see companies announcing that they're pulling the plug on an online game, I think back to this video that's almost 10 years old now. At the video by Ross from Accursed Farms and his review series called Ross's Game Dungeon. The video I'm referring to is his review on Battleforge, which I'll link to at the end of this video. Hell, parts of this video were inspired by that video, including this next part. Tell me how awesome your game is when no one can ever play it again. Now, I know most people watching this video don't really care about Cross Duels, but that's not a reason to really shove this under the rug like it's not an issue. And like I said, there were several things working against Cross Duels from the time of its announcement. For starters, Cross Duels was announced at the exact same time as Master Duel and Rush Duel. The only time I can really think of where a company announced 3 games for the same series at the same time was with Kingdom Hearts, with Coded, Days, and Burst by Sleep. And that was all the way back in, I think, 2007? Almost 20 years ago? Even back then, Kingdom Hearts had a massive following. It was pretty much to the point where if you were a fan of anime, then it was pretty much synonymous with being a Kingdom Hearts fan. Not saying that every anime fan is a Kingdom Hearts fan or every Kingdom Hearts fan is into anime, but it was pretty synonymous back then. Even with a huge following like Kingdom Hearts, not everyone was looking forward to all 3 of those games. I still haven't played Coded at all. The reason why I bring this up is because I feel like it's a similar case with Cross Duels and Konami announcing these 3 games at the exact same time. To make it worse, Speed Duels was a less popular format, and when you're introducing pretty much 2 games that are basically in that same format, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. So when you announce 3 games, 2 of which are not very popular formats, you're pretty much guaranteeing that one of them is going to be so widely downloaded compared to the other 2. The next problem is that Konami didn't really stagger the release of the games, or at least not enough. Referring to the 3 Kingdom Hearts games I mentioned earlier, they were staggered to where one would release per year. But the games that Konami announced were only staggered by like a few months. And lastly, the advertising for Cross Duels was a bit off.
Chris.
Master Duel was marketed far more effectively by Konami getting Dan Green to voice the advertisements. Honestly, I had to look up what the marketing was for Cross Duels because I just haven't seen any. Anyways, as I said before, I hate when any game dies, and I know the reaction from the general public is going to be, who cares when it comes down to Cross Duels? I'm not really asking you to care about Cross Duels. All I'm really saying is that the game companies can do more than just kill a game. All I'm asking is to look at the bigger issue of games being killed as a whole. On that note, let me know what your thoughts are down below. My name is Vincent. I am the Race Duelist. Goodbye.